so much for joining us today. I'm really pleased to be joined by Eszter Forrest, Paraplanner at Succession Wealth, and Hannah Wynick, founder and managing director of Core Financial Paraplanning Limited. Thanks so much for joining us. Eszter, I'm going to start with you. Maybe you can just talk us through a little bit about your pathway into your current role, your sort of career journey so far.
Yes, so I got into paraplanning in 2023. So I've been coming up to 3 years in this role. But I began my career in financial services in 2014 within a community bank before moving into private banking shortly thereafter. This transition provided my first meaningful exposure to financial advice, where I worked closely alongside financial planners and developed a strong interest in helping clients plan for their future and their financial future. In my role as a client administrator at the time, I became increasingly motivated to progress into an advisory-focused career, and I started to work towards my diploma in regulated financial planning. During this time, I also gained valuable experience by participating in client meetings, which further strengthened my knowledge and understanding of the advice process. However, I recognized that a front-facing advisory role was not the best fit for me. And in following discussions around my career progression with my manager at the time, I was introduced to paraplanning, and I spoke to senior paraplanners within my firm to gain a deeper understanding of the role itself. This was a pivotal moment for me. I was particularly drawn to the technical expertise, attention to detail, and the analytical approach required in the paraplanning role. And it became clear that this is aligned closely with my skills and interests. So this experience motivated me to fully complete my qualification and actively pursue a career in paraplanning. And here I am now, still in the job since 2023.
Great. And Hannah, what about your journey into paraplanning?
I'm a little different. So I think, like most people, I very much fell into financial services. My dad was an IFA, and that had made me grow up going, never in a million years is this the industry, don't want to do that. No, really, really not for me. And yet here I am. I actually trained at dance college. That was performing arts was my thing. And then sort of various life gets in the way, doesn't it? Life happens. And my mum she'd done her diploma. She was doing some paraplanning for my dad, having sold her business previously. So she was like, I need to do something else. Let's do this. And they went on holiday and said, look, just do us a favor. Just keep an eye on things while we're away. Answer the phone, pick up the post, scan, that kind of thing. And in those 2 weeks, it sounds ridiculous, that changed everything. I was like, this is such an interesting job. I could really see myself working in this way, not doing the planning exactly as Eszter said. The client facing wasn't for me. And I knew that very, very early on. But I was like, whatever this is, this other part, this is a bit of me. And I absolutely, from there, when they came back from holiday, I just said to my mum, we could make a business out of this. I always knew I sort of wanted to be my own boss. I'm probably better that way than working for somebody else. And I just said, why don't we could do this. We could do this for more than just working for dad. Let's go and speak to some other financial advisors and see if this is a thing. And actually, it was 2011. And although paraplanning was a job, it was very unheard of. So we had the extra, I suppose, uphill battle of having to explain why you need to work with a paraplanner and then say, and you should work with us because of X, Y, Z. So maybe I'm a bit of an anomaly in the paraplanning world, especially in outsourcing, that I've never worked in-house. It was outsourcing from day one. I learned on the job, I got my qualifications, as I was doing it essentially, and could not be further away from performing arts if I tried. No. But I wouldn't change
got that along. You could always do that alongside, I suppose.
Exactly. But you know what? I think. Sorry, things happen for a reason, and I genuinely think that this was what I was meant to end up doing, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. And Eszter, I know you mentioned already some of what you like about the role, but maybe you can talk a bit about your job at the moment and what really excites you coming into work and what, with what you're doing.
Yeah, so I really actually enjoy the analytical part of the role, the analytical side of it, researching solutions, working through complex scenarios, and ensuring that the recommendations are accurate, suitable, and well structured. It does suit the way I like to work, as I'm quite detail focused and enjoy problem solving. I don't think that people appreciate the level of responsibility that comes with supporting advisors in general, because whilst paraplanners are not typically client-facing, the quality of our work directly influences the advice that the clients receive. So knowing that I play a key role in helping the advisors and helping to deliver a good client outcome, it's something that I particularly enjoy, and I find it very rewarding.
Yeah, great. And Hannah, what about you? You mentioned it already, but yeah, what are some of the key things you really like about the role?
I think one of the two big areas for me. One is that every day is very, very different. I've worked in jobs previously where it was not that the tasks were monotonous. The day was literally, step by step, every single thing was the same. And so for me, coming into work every day and it being completely different to the day before, it keeps my brain going. The other thing is, as Eszter I think just mentioned slightly, is seeing the outcome for the client. So even just working, say, for example, on some cash flow modeling or, putting together a solution for a client, thinking I'm helping to make this person's life hopefully better. Although we're not sat in front of the clients and we're not seeing that firsthand, knowing that you've been part of it, that's a very rewarding part of the job.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. Yeah, as you said, really important that what your final impact on the client is huge, really. And just finally, maybe you could address what are some of the common myths you hear about careers in financial services or paraplanning, and how would you answer those? Eszter, I'll come to you on this one. What's different to what people maybe expect when they think about paraplanning?
I think one of the common myths is that careers in financial services are purely sales driven, and I think I can say that I was probably in the same mind before coming into the industry. But in reality, while some of the roles do involve business development, a large part of the profession focuses on technical expertise, analysis, and delivering suitable outcomes for client. Roles like paraplanning, compliance, and research are much more about understanding the regulations, analyzing data, and ensuring that the advice is accurate and appropriate. And if a product is not suitable for the client, I don't know any advisors who would recommend it to a client just purely based on a sales-driven environment.
Yeah. And Hannah, what myths do you hear about the sector and working here that
I know it's my own misconception, but that it's a boring industry to work in.
Yeah.
And obviously, having now been in the industry for 15 years plus, it's definitely not a boring, but I think people have this misconception, especially as well with the sales part that Eszter referred to. I think it's this grey suits, boring, sitting and hearing about, investments going up. But that's not what this industry is anymore. It is not. It might have been in the past, but it isn't that now. And actually, it's a really thriving industry to be a part of. I think another one is that it's not for women. And I'm very lucky to have surrounded myself with some great female advisors and paraplanners and other people within the industry. Once you're in, you realise that actually that isn't the case at all. It's a great industry for women to work in, and actually we need more people now to understand that, and more women to make that transition into the industry, or the profession, should I say.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure you just talking about those roles and being here as role models will hopefully help encourage more women as well in the future. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.